Welcome to another episode of What Are You Reading? What Are You Writing? I'm your host, Karen E. Osborne, and I am so glad that you're here with us. I hope that you are a regular and you show up all the time. And if you are, you will remember my guest. My guest today is Camille A. Frazer. And Camille visited us, maybe it was 2 years ago. Do you think,
I
Camille?
think so. I believe so.
Yeah, your poetry book had just come out, The Unveiling,
Right.
and you were about to, or you were working on book number two, and now she's back with book number three. But since you missed her book number two, we're going to talk about that one too, just so we can get all three of them in there. So, Camille has been an advocate for children for, is it still 17 years? That's what it
It's
said on
about, yeah,
Amazon.
17 and a half, 17 and a half.
17
Yeah.
and a half years. And she is as passionate about writing as she is about safeguarding best interests of children, which is what she does as a lawyer for a living. Her first book was a collection of poems, which you heard about, and I'll put the link. So if you want to see my first interview with Camille and hear more about the unveiling, you can just click on that'll be that'll be on here. Uh, and then her second is a children's book, Oscar Owl Gives a Hoot About Color. She just love I have to love your titles. They're so creative. Her most recent release title, listen to this one, is Glenda Goldenmind and the Secret of Positive Thinking. And on Amazon, it said that this book is a masterful story of the power of positive thinking and creating positive mindset. So I am so glad to have you back. We don't have enough poets and we don't have enough authors who write for children. So many of the people I interview are writing for adults, and there's a poet here and a poet there. So I'm glad to have both a poet and a children's book writer on. So, is there
Thank you.
something a thread between the three? You wrote a book of poetry, you wrote a children's book, and now you have another children's book out. Is there anything like, was the inspiration for the book similar, or kind of what's the underpinning?
Well, first, thank you for having me on again. I really appreciate being able to talk to you about my latest project and my past ones as well. And with respect to all three, I think just my passion for teaching and educating and sharing. I remember when I was a little girl before, I wanted to be a lawyer, I would teach my cousins things that I knew, books that I had read. And that has traveled throughout my whole life. What I do in terms of advocacy for children, I do also mentorship. So I mentor youth. And I think that's the common underpinning, the passing on what I have learned, what I have found useful, teaching others. And especially since children are my focus, my last two projects have been, sort of geared towards children, even though the message relates to adults. And so the inspiration for each, the unveiling really wasn't even meant to be a book. I was just journaling
Mm.
about my childhood, about friendship, about love, the meaning of life. So this was, I think the end of 2016. In 2017, well, I was just writing things that were on my mind, things that I answers to questions that I had, or propose answers to questions. And after a few months, just looking in my journal and the poems that I had created, I just wondered how many I had written. And at that point, I had written about 60. And then the
Oh,
idea came, this could be a book. And I had always loved writing, and I had always wanted to publish. And it was just remarkable that this exercise of journaling really led into my first published book. I had written little stories, short stories in high school, but this was my first published work. And it was very just a wonderful surprise just from my journaling. And then it became this book of poems, and eventually became to about 100 poems that eventually went into the book, which is the unveiling my collection of poems.
That's
And then Oscar
wonderful.
Owl gives a hoot about color. It was inspired by the unfortunate event of George Floyd, his murder, his killing,
Mm.
and it weighed so heavily on me in terms of how people view each other, especially in terms of color and how we treat each other, and the idea of, well, how can I help? Well, what can I do to educate, particularly children? So we have young children growing up, getting this message to them, just loving and accepting others, regardless of the color of their skin. And of course, adults read this to them. So maybe that could be a change, a seed growth for them as well. But that was the inspiration. And I just love that, there's the sharing of this idea that we really need to just be respectful of others, be accepting of others, regardless of the color of their skin.
Yeah, yeah. So what age is that book aimed at?
It's really for toddlers. So it's like a picture book.
Uh-huh.
And just introducing kids at such a young age, toddlers, to the idea of this message, really, of love, of acceptance, of a coming together, um, of each other, and growing in this love and acceptance.
Yeah, that is powerful. So then you decided, I mean,
Glenda
Glenda came to
Golden.
you.
It did. Glenda came.
So tell us about that.
Yes. I've been on this journey. I've always loved reading, and always thought of myself as, you know, ambitious and forward thinking, and always want to do better and more for myself and for others. And in 2016, 2017, I started reading all these different books. I mean, I had, gone to law school, and for so many years, my life was just inundated with school and law work. But then I finally got to get in more into just reading for leisure, and then self-development. And all these wonderful books came to me. For example, As a Man Thinketh, and Think and Grow Rich, The Science of Success. And I think of them as thought development books, and they really brought to me this message of um, thinking positively on a consistent basis, and how helpful it is to have just a positive outlook and saying positive affirmations to you. And then it began to, in my mind, form, well, how helpful would it have been to me as a child to have been introduced to this idea? And that's where Glenda Goldenmine came from. It's just this, I guess, gift to children, introducing them to the idea of positive thinking, positive affirmations, belief in themselves, belief in ourselves. And it's really geared for ages 5 to 12 primarily. But as I say, it's even for adults, because I have parents and grandparents who have read it to their children and grandchildren, come back and with the feedback and say, oh my gosh, this was really amazing. Just this idea of positive thinking, and what does that mean in terms of persistence and growth. And so, that's Glenda
Yeah.
Goldenmine, and this is the title that I landed on. I first started thinking it should be, maybe the character should be Terry Thinker, but that didn't sound quite right. And then I eventually landed on Glenda Goldenmind.
I love her name. I just love her name. And you're right, as a grandparent, as first as a parent, but now my kids are older than you, and then
Mhm.
as a grandparent, uh, reading to my kids and reading to my grandchildren really helped me grow.
Mhm.
Because we'd end up having
Absolutely.
really rich conversations about these things. So I have to read Glenda to my boys. It's all right. Boys would still, right? It's
Oh,
not like a
yes.
girl book.
Oh, and absolutely. It's for any gender, anyone. It's for a
Everyone.
younger audience, but really it's helpful to everyone.
Okay, good. Because they're the middle one is at this age, and the little one too is like, is that a girl book? Grandma, did you buy me a girl book? We're gonna read girl books and boy books. So I like that. I'll say, I spoke to the author and she said it's for boys who. So, one of the questions I love asking my authors is what do they love about their protagonist, the main character in the book? Because if we don't love her, even when we have annoying protagonists, which I have in my books, I have some protagonists that like, get on my nerves,
Yeah.
but you gotta love them because how are our readers gonna love them? And you have to stay with them. It takes so much time to write. So
It
what do you
does.
love about Glenda?
I love that she's so flexible and that
Mhm.
she's eager to learn. The story starts with her having a bad afternoon after something at school, and just to see the readiness and transition throughout the story, her interaction with her grandmother, and her grandmother just introducing this concept, this idea of positive thinking, and her not persisting in her sullenness, but just being flexible and eager to learn and excited to learn and participating in the story. And then you see through just who she is, how she comes out of that sadness that we saw in the beginning.
Cool. And flexibility, that's a really important trait, isn't it? And you
It sure is.
and curiosity and willing to learn.
Mhm.
I know, no matter what age you are, there's still more things to learn. There's still more, but
Absolutely.
you've got to have that mindset.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that too. So are you working on something new?
I am. I started another book in the Oscar Al series. So the
Ah,
first one is about color, and the second one I'm working on bullying. So it's all these
oh,
different issues that touch young children. I want to share a message with them about all these different topics as they go through toddlerhood and kindergarten. So that's what I'm tackling, or that's what Oscar Al is tackling next.
that sounds really good. Yeah, that's such a big issue, isn't it?
It
And
is.
and kids have to know how to handle it, and so often mom and dad are busy. I mean, if you're fortunate if mom and dad are just home and you come home and you can tell them everything that happened, but for so many children,
That's
that's
not
not the
the
case.
case. Yeah.
And yeah, that's a great topic. When do you think it might come out?
Well, I hope for it to be out by September. So
Oh,
I've already,
excellent.
I think, written the main frame of it. And now I have to go back and edit and make sure that it's exactly what I want his message on the topic to be. So I'm hoping by September.
Oh, that's wonderful. My youngest, he's just going into kindergarten in September. So this sounds like it would be perfect for him, kind of to
Yes,
prepare him That, you know,
Absolutely.
he's used to being loved, 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 and now he's gonna go and and everybody's going to think you're so cute.
Yeah.
It sounds really good. So
Thank
I
you.
know one of the questions I always ask, and I asked you the last time you were here, if you could share some authors that have had a profound impact on either your
Mm,
life or on your writing. It could be either one. And you
okay.
mentioned some books already,
I
but if there's
did.
any that really you wanted to add to that list.
Um, I think I said them all. I don't know if I had mentioned the power of positive thinking. So, in response to that question, I have the books on thought development that have really helped me, such as A Man Thinketh and Think and Grow Rich, which just really opened my mind to this whole idea of yes, you have to practice. So it is a practice of positive thinking. It is a practice of believing in yourself. And it sounds very simple, but it can be pretty difficult.
Very
And
challenging.
so you have to, have the practice of also weeding out those negative thoughts. And it's a constant and persistent thing. And so through just reading these books, it's a reminder to myself as well. So I don't see it as a read one or read a few books and you're automatically have it that you automatically just constantly positive, you're thinking positively. It's something that you have to work on, and it's something that I continue working on. So outside of that, and I don't know if I had shared this the first time, but I've always just been fascinated on a fictional basis with respect to Agatha Christie. It's like this master of mystery telling and storytelling, and I love mysteries and I love her books. And I see her, and I hope to at one point write a mystery. So it's just I see it as maybe stretching my imagination, stretching my creative abilities. I don't know that I'll get anywhere close to where Agatha Christie got, but at least to write or at least to attempt a mystery would be really nice.
That would be fun. Yeah, that's what I'm working on now. I have one mystery, Tangled Lies, that came
Mhm.
out, and now I'm working on a second murder mystery.
Oh, wow.
They are
That's
tricky to
amazing.
do, though, very tricky. And you're right, Agatha Christie is amazing. She did cozy mysteries where everybody's
Yes.
in the room
Oh,
or on
yeah.
the train. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
those are, and one of them is the murderer.
Yeah. Yes, when I guess decide to start one, I'll pick your brain.
And then, and that would be a joy. I would love that. Is there anything that you've read recently? You haven't even time to read. I know you're working, you're
Uh,
working flat out, but is there anything that you've read recently that you could recommend to our audience?
well, actually, right now I'm reading The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. And what I really like about his book is that he just mixes a lot of powerful affirmations based on Bible scriptures and
Hmm.
a lot of tips as it relates to the relationship with God and how impactful and how positive it is to have that relationship and just brings to life all these biblical passages that I have read over time and just shows the impact and the usefulness of them in a more relatable way than you would normally think.
Nice, nice. Of course, I've heard of it many times, but I don't think I've ever read it. So you've inspired me. You have
Good. Thank
inspired
you.
me. That sounds really good. Um, Forgot to ask you, do you have a copy of Glenda nearby?
I do.
Let's show everybody
Yes,
this great
yes.
cover. Just lift it up a little higher so we can see her cute. Look at that. Look at she's so cute.
And
That's
then
a
the
great
back,
cover.
you see her with
Oh,
her grandmother. They're taking a rest after their gardening activities or a break in their
Nice.
activities.
That's a great cover.
Thank
Do you
you.
have somebody you work with?
I do. I really love putting the books together, and I use artists on Fiverr. So I have a formatter that I have worked with on all my projects, on all my books. But the illustrators, they have changed. So I have a different illustrator for Oscar Owl than I do for Glenda Golden Mine. But there are people I can go back to.
Back and tap into it. It takes such talent and to capture what you're trying to convey
Yes,
in a
yes,
picture. Yeah.
I do. I
So
give them really vivid scene depictions and what the character should be doing. And so with the editing process, just fine tuning what my idea is and what the final product is, or the final
very
images are.
nice, very nice. So how can people, now that we've intrigued all the grandmas, mamas, daddies, to get this books for their little ones in their life, aunties, uncles, how can they find you?
Online. So I'm on Amazon. So if you go to Amazon.com and just type in my name, the easiest way to find my books is Camille A. Frazer with a Z and no I. So F-R-A-Z as in zebra, E-R. Just put that in either in Amazon or in Google. My books are on Barnes and Noble, on Walmart, on various website and distributors. And you can purchase it. I also have a website, www.camilleafrazer.com, and you can learn a little bit more about me, and my books are listed there as well.
Excellent. And can they reach you from your website? Can they write you from your website?
Yes, they can.
Excellent. So we would love for you to follow Camille. We'd love for you to go on Amazon and purchase her books. We would love for you to go on her website and send her a little note and tell her that you met on What Are You Reading? What Are You Writing? Thanks everybody for watching, for listening. Please share with others. If you really enjoyed this interview, please send it to the grandmas and uncles and aunties and moms and dads that you know. So they can learn about it too. Thanks everybody, and I hope to see you next week on What Are You Reading? What Are You Writing? Have a great week.